The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is sponsored by Two Fat Lardies and by the generous donations of you, the listener. We'd like to thank everyone for their support. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast, episode 251. Summer 2018 catch-up. With hosts Neil Shuck and Mike Hobbs, and guest host Mr. Dave Luff. This show was recorded on the 5th of September 2018. Hello, and welcome back to a whole new season of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. We're back from our holidays, and it's time to join the Brummy Dwarf, the Welsh Wizard, and yes, indeed, the great Guru himself. It's time...
All hail him.
Indeed. Welcome one, welcome all to the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. My name's Neil Shuck, and joining me on this episode we have the aforementioned Welsh Wizard is Mr. Michael Hobbs. Hello, sir.
Hello, Neil. Hello, Meeps. We're back.
Indeed we are, and welcome the great Guru Luff. How are you, sir?
Hello, Neil. All good. Hello, and all hail frugal gamers.
All hail him.
Indeed.
Listen to his wise words.
Or maybe not.
You sounded quite cheerful then, Dave. You tell us a new season.
Neil has that effect on me.
Give him time. Give him time.
You feel positive, and all of a sudden he snatches it away from you.
Well, it can't be his dice rolling.
No.
Indeed.
Oh, crikey.
Okay, yeah, let's not go there quite this early. Right, okay. So, I hope you've missed us. It's been, yes, we had a couple of months off. So, first off, let us get the elephant out in the room out of the way. So, we're entering into a new season of the podcast, 251 onwards, and as part of that, we've decided that we're going to change the format of the show somewhat. So several changes will be happening in what we do and the sort of content we produce. As part of that, I wanted to change how we present the show, and one thing was looking at, what we do with guests and interviews and that sort of thing. Basically, it's kind of been something that's been fermenting over the course of a while now, actually. We were chatting and basically saying that we kind of gone away from a lot of, one of the things we did really well, which was lots of in-depth reviews. And I was seduced by, interviews and, talking to people and doing a lot of that sort of thing. Now it's great chatting to loads of game producers, game designers, what have you. I'm not knocking that, but one of the things that a lot of people said we did well, and they want to hear us talking about gaming, and they want to hear us reviewing games. And whilst it's great talking to game designers, it's, generally you are not going to get, for want of a better phrase, an objective review from a game designer. If you ask a game designer, tell us about your game, he's not going to turn around and say it's rubbish. He's not going to turn around and highlight, perhaps some of the issues it may have. It'll just tell you how good it is. Which, although, a game designer can talk about, what was on his mind when he was producing a set of rules, you as a listener will not, will not have the objectivity of people talking about reviewing a set of rules, without the gamer being in the room. Okay? So, we had an idea to say, okay, let's do a lot more reviews, a lot more talking about games. Okay? And actually, this whole concept that we've had and what we've kind of built the podcast around, which is gamers sitting around chatting about games and the game they played and the hobby they're in and that sort of thing. And as part of that, I wanted to have the opportunity to bring more people in. However, one thing we have found, and one thing, it's difficult to juggle a discussion that's more than 3-way. Okay. Now that's something that happens that we've found even in interviews and reviews. When you have 3 podcast hosts and a guest, or even 4 podcast hosts and a guest, it's very difficult to, for want of a better phrase, choreograph that whole conversation. So it ends up that, either things don't get done, things don't get said, people get left out of the conversation. Just from a sheer choreography point of view, and especially when, we're not talking face to face, we're talking over Skype, it can be difficult for, to get everybody involved and keep everybody involved and engaged. It seems that for that sort of thing, 3 is kind of a bit of a magic number. So, I thought, well, okay, if we're going on this 3, and we want to get more people involved, then effectively what we're looking at is a guest third presenter. And of course, when you've got 3 kind of presenters who are there all the time, it's difficult to get that third guest in. So as part of that, I've asked Mike Whittaker if he wouldn't mind stepping down. That's not to say we won't have him on the show at all, but I've asked him to step down as being a presenter on the show, which basically means that we will generally have 2 presenters, myself, Mike Hobbs, and then a third presenter. Now that third presenter may be semi-regular, but on other occasions it will be somebody else that we know in the hobby, or it may even be one of you guys. That's a scary thought, isn't it? Listen up, guys, we might be inviting you on the show, and I'm perfectly serious about that. Okay, so we'll come back to that in future. So that's where we are. So moving forward, it's going to be myself, Mike Hobbs, and a guest presenter. So, as we've already introduced, for this show, our guest third chair happens to be the great Dave Luff, who will be joining us on more than one occasion. On other times we might have, for example, I know I've already got Josh, my son, lined up for a show in the future, and we're already talking to other guys about coming on the show. But that is probably the major change, is what's going to be happening on the show as we move forward. Yeah, so I'd like to thank Mike for his contribution to the show. He's been on the show since episode 111. So yes, and as Mike's, since the last time we took a break, which was when Meeples on the Edge came out, if I remember rightly. Is that right, Mr. Hobbs?
It was, yeah. That's how we met Mike.
Yes, and we joined on a regular basis as part of that. Now, you may have noticed that since we've been off, Mr. Whittaker has obviously missed podcasting, and has therefore as a result, appears to have restarted his own podcast, The Miller's Tale, which you can find at the Trouble at Mill blog. So you can go, if you're missing your regular dose of Mr. Whittaker, you can go and find his own podcast, which is basically he recorded one episode and then ended up on ours. So having taken a 4-year break, he's back on his own show, and I encourage you to wander over there and have a listen. But Mike's made a huge contribution to the show, and I want to thank him for all his efforts and his input over the past few years. And we wish him all the best, and obviously we'll see him around. Yeah, so thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Yep.
So that's kind of what's happening. So few new things. Most of the content is staying the same, but a few changes. The bottom line is, as far as the podcast is concerned, people talk about unique selling points with products, and especially as more and more gaming podcasts come around, we want to be, we want to try and maintain our unique identity. So part of that is we want to be a podcast that is by gamers talking about games. Lots of people say that, the one thing they really enjoy is it's like chatting with a bunch of mates down the pub, about gaming. And that's really what we want to do. So that's our ideas moving forward. And I hope you really enjoy things as you move on. On that note, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will start our revamped podcast with a look back at what we've done on our holidays. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is very proud to be sponsored by Two Fat Lardies. This design studio has been producing high quality wargames rules and supplements primarily for the historical gamer. Whether your interest lies in World War II, the conflicts of the 19th century, or even ancient Britain, or whether those conflicts are on land, at sea or in the air, you will find something of interest in their large catalogue of rules. Most recently, they have produced a series of supplements for their World War II game rules, I Ain't Been Shotman and Chain of Command, concentrating on the battles in the Low Countries in 1940. Now, whilst these are supplements specifically aimed at those games, they contain a wealth of historical information about the forces, be that Allied or Axis, that fought during that campaign. So, if you're looking to game in 1940 in Western Europe, these supplements being Blitzkrieg 1940, A Chain of Command, or Blitzkrieg in the West, parts 1, 2, 3 or 4, are must-reads for the World War II gamer. You can find them all at their website, twofatlardies.co.uk. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the sight of the great Guru himself.
All hail him.
All hail him, who may or may not pronounce absolution on us.
He's not this time. I can guarantee that one for a start, mate.
For indeed it is time to confess what perhaps has caught our eye and more importantly captured our wallets. And obviously we've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
Shall we start with the person who we know whose segment will last about 30 seconds. Oh, great guru, have you anything to confess? Anything that has captured your wallet in the past 2 months?
I've bought quite a lot actually in the last few months.
Okay. Let's hold that statement, and then we'll review it later in the light of further revelation. Okay. So, Dave, can you please tell us what is the rather a lot that you have bought in the last couple of months?
Well, we started painting, which is sort of trying to get the lead mounting down a little bit.
Hang on, excuse me. Can you please define a lead mounting?
Sort of like probably 1.5 unpainted armies with a few other bits and pieces.
Luxury.
Mountain? That's barely a hillock.
Well, yeah, I've got a lot of spares as well. I'm thinking about getting them all painted up as well.
Right, okay, sorry.
So, anyway, so I did start on my Irish warband for Saga because they were there. I actually tell a lie because I actually finished off a few gladiators, didn't I? Crusader gladiators I had left to do. And you were sort of saying, are you going to get those done? And I said, yeah, best. So, anyway, from doing those gladiators, I realised that my paintbrushes were getting a bit tatty. They were originally, my brushes were originally Red Sable Kalinskis from Vallejo, but you can't get them now. They're like rocking horse poo. But I found a company that makes them on the same line. They're not Vallejo brushes, but they were made on the same line as Vallejo, and they seem pretty much to be the same spec. And they're sold by S&M Stuff, by Creative Models. I bought a whole £30 worth.
£30 worth.
A whole £30 worth.
I know somebody who bought. I know somebody who bought one brush for that.
What? Who bought one
Dave.
brush for that? Who bought one brush for £30?
You may know him.
No, it's not the Welsh Wizard, is it?
No.
No.
Dave.
Moving on. Go on. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a big investment. I mean, I've done well, really. I mean, I'd say to anyone that wants brushes to last any length of time, to definitely think about buying some of those from S&M Stuff. They're good brushes. And then there was another big buy when we went to the other partisan, Neil?
Yes.
Neil got involved in this goodness. I don't know which store was selling them, but they had a big bargain bucket of Vallejo paints at 50p a chuck. So I filled my boots and bought a whole £2 worth.
So 4, right?
Well done. You can divide by 50. You're a good lad.
Took me a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, Neil was busy gossiping. He was that day, and he was busy chatting, and he saw me approaching, and he knew I was going to say something, and he wasn't very keen to be interrupted. But as I saw many a game around the box filling their boots, I thought, if I don't tell him, and I tell him after the fact, when all the goodies and shinies had gone at very cheap prices, he'd be very upset with me. And I said, he was like, what do you want? And I went, 50p, bottle of Vallejo's over there. Oh, right. And off he scurried. So there you go. I did share the love.
You did. You did. Metal medium, 50p. Wow. Steel.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And other Dave Hickman, he filled his boots as well.
Suppose you didn't walk out with the whole container.
Now,
he was thinking about it.
Well, the problem was, the colour selection was limited. What was it? It was basically like red, orange. I think Dave got the only green.
There was 2 greens in there, 2 different types of green, a blue. There was a fluorescent yellow, wasn't there?
There was a fluorescent yellow, there was a fluorescent blue, and a fluorescent green.
Blue?
Yeah, it's fluorescent blue, yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
So you're rather a lot pertains to, I mean, how many paintbrushes did you buy for 30 quid? Did you mention a number?
I've got them here. How many I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.
Right. Is that it? Is that all you've been doing? Is that sorry? Is that the full breadth of your purchases in the last 2 months? I just want to confirm that we've got everything. Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah. What's wrong with that? I thought that was quite good.
Fine. Okay.
Quite a lot.
Right. Okay. So Dave bought a lot. 6 paintbrushes and 4 pots of paint.
No, 8 paintbrushes. 8
8 paintbrushes and stand corrected. And 4 pots
2
of
of them
paint.
were big paintbrushes as well. They were the big fat ones. So, they must count as at least 3 paintbrushes each.
What size was that then, Dave? What size is the big fat paintbrush?
A 4.
Yeah.
A 3.
Hmm.
And a 2.
Oh, right, okay.
Now
So
you can easily make 4 ones with a 4.
Right. So you didn't fancy buying something like a big 6 or something like that. A 5 or a 6.
No. I don't even use that for varnishing. So, and I've already got one of those because as a frugal gamer, 10 years ago I bought a very nice Umbro brush, and it. Well, I thought it was past saving until I suspended it in some of that Vallejo brush restorer, and it's as good as a new one now. So I saved some money there.
Oh, that's okay. That sounds like something for hobby tips.
Oh, yes.
For hobby tips later in the show. Right. Okay. So you bought rather a lot.
Loads. Feel a bit guilty, to be honest.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Dave. Shall I go next?
Yeah, I couldn't sure I was done, Neil.
No. I've kind of been fair to. Like, okay. I've been trying to be good. Okay. I mean, I know, and also if you've been listening to a couple of my the Patreon only podcasts, I've been chatting about various things to do. I mean, one of them I was even I think if Dave listened to it, he might have even been feeling slightly proud that he might be on the brink of making another disciple. But I've been thinking a lot about still doing sorting out and like what games I've got and various other bits and pieces and looking at things and kind of going, well, still got a lot of Kickstarters due to arrive. So I've been trying to, be good and not jump on every single bandwagon that's coming along, but concentrating on 3 or 4 projects that I'm, especially that's kind of active at the moment. Okay. So over the last couple of months, basically I've been looking at one new set of rules. Well, it's kind of an expansion set of rules. That came off the back of actually a demo of Kill Team, which we're going to talk about later. But I ended up buying the new copy. Sorry, the new expansion for Dead Zone. I think it's called Outbreak, if I remember rightly. So that was kind of a new set of rules I bought. And then, having bought that, I was chatting with Andy Meacham. Hi, Andy, from Mantic Games. This was at the other parties then. So, because I went up to Andy and said, I'll ask for a copy of this, and he said, yeah, fine. And then we ended up chatting a while and talking about Star Saga. I'm not quite sure exactly what happened, but suddenly, about 10 minutes later, I found myself wandering away with a copy of Star Saga. So I applaud Andy for his wonderful salesmanship, but the Yeah, he did a wonder. But well, we were chatting about Star Saga, and then actually talking about how they're linking Star Saga in with Dead Zone. So they're all almost operating side by side. It's quite intriguing, and I'm going to write a blog post about it and maybe chat about it separately. But the bottom line is, they still had some copies of the Kickstarter version of Star Saga. So I bought that. Okay. I wasn't originally intending on buying it, but yeah.
It was a bargain, though, to be fair, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a bargain. It was a bargain. So yeah. Yes. Thank you, Andy.
So you get some frugal points there.
And then, other than that, right, I've bought. I had my Kickstarter from Bad Squid Games turned up. Woohoo! It was a grand total of one wolf. Thank you, Annie.
Wow, you pushed the boat out there, didn't you?
I did. So, yeah, I was distracted at the time. There were other things going on. Then I had got a couple of miniatures from, oh crikey, what is it? Grape? No, it's not Grape Bear, is it? It's,
Bear's Head.
Bear's Head, thank you.
Head, yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
I think I've turned
Hi, Phil.
him.
You have.
I have. He's come to his senses.
I bought a couple of miniatures from Bear's Head, which was from the result of their latest Kickstarter, which was a werewolf and a completely awesome Highland Minotaur.
Yes,
I haven't seen
great
that.
figure.
Oh, it's fantastic. So basically, have you not seen this one, Dave? Okay, imagine this. Okay, so the miniature is about 60 mil tall. Right, it's a Highland cow, a Highland bull in a kilt,
as you do,
with a claymore. It's absolutely brilliant.
So why have you bought this?
Because it's just awesome.
Why not?
Because it is what it is. That's fair enough.
Because it is what it is. It's just an awesome figure. I saw it and went, I've got to have one of those. And to be fair, Phil's just he's just sculpted another one for it, which he's
maybe that might be useful in a certain fantasy war game, maybe at some point in the future.
Perhaps.
In the future.
It's an alternative minotaur, you see. He's just sculpted another one. This one's wielding a huge kind of like stone battle hammer. It's brilliant. Absolutely stunning.
That'd look good in a War of the Roses fantasy army.
Oh, it would. Especially if you did like, Mad Highlanders or something, it'd be great. I bought a couple of those. Bought a few figures for Star Wars Legion. I know I haven't started painting my base sets yet, but bought a couple of the generals. So bought General Veers, and actually managed to find a copy of Princess Leia. Who really is like Rocking Horse Doo-Doo at the moment. So managed to, found a copy of her, and then, a couple of weeks ago, no, last week, even Han Solo and the new Rebel Commandos were released. I kind of succumbed to that again. Because I thought, well, if you don't get them on the release, those are things that are liable to just like disappear and not be restocked for months. Or if Leia and the Fleet Troopers are anything to go by, so I thought I'd get in quick on them. I've been carrying on collecting warbands for Test of Honor, and looking at fully expanding the warbands we've got. So picked up the new Honor Begeisha warband, the new metal figures that Warlord are producing for Test of Honor are really nice. Some of them are a bit interesting because I think it's the bandits have been released, and effectively they haven't got integral bases, and they're not slaughter based either. So effectively you got to pin them to bases. So that's going to make life interesting. But anyway, so I bought the new Honor Begeisha box set, and also the two the monks and the bandit box sets for running the North Star cell, which kind of completes my current Test of Honor stuff. And is that about it? I think that's about it. So, while I've been trying to be good, I kind of got to the point where I kind of went, I just want to kind of complete my Test of Honor stuff, and then the Star Wars Legion kind of just happened. So that was me.
So that was your one crumble then?
My one, crumble and then crumble a bit more. Yes. Yeah. But I did resist buying Kill Team. I did resist buying Kill Team. I was a good boy. boy.
Right,
Mr. Hobbs, how have you been getting on?
Get the thumb screws out for him now.
What, thumb screws for me?
No. Hobbsy. Might as well just start twisting them now.
Well, I was bored.
It was shiny.
Yeah.
It was new.
Yeah. So, well, I started off by buying some RPG stuff. So I did get the brand new Call of Cthulhu. You're about to jump in there, Neil?
Yes. Sorry, I missed confessing one thing. Because it was just far too good a deal to miss. Thank you, Ralph, for pointing this out, because I missed it a first time round. But was it Humble Bundle?
Yes.
We're doing an offer with Cubicle 7 to get all their PDFs of the One Ring RPG for, was it $15?
Yeah, some of that.
Yeah, $15. So yeah, I succumbed.
Good for you. What did you get? All of them?
The PDFs, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I got all of them. Because to be honest, it was too good a deal. I mean, £12 for all the PDFs. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Too good to miss. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, Mr. Hobbs.
That's okay. Yeah, so I got Call of Cthulhu because I read the old version that I got sent and really liked it. So I thought I'd pick up the new version. So I got that and a couple of expansion boxes. Sorry, a couple of supplements. I also did the Humble Bundle, but I only did it for $1 because I just wanted the 30% off from the Cubicle 7 site.
I see.
Oh, some frugal points there.
I then spent the 30% discount I had to buy the remaining 5 books that I didn't have in hardback, which also gave me the PDFs, because you get the PDFs free. Again, frugality, Dave. Doubling up there. Giving money straight to the manufacturer, Dave. Cutting out the middleman.
Well, straight to the manufacturer, I always believe is good.
Yeah, so I did that. And again, going straight to the manufacturer at KSEM. I picked up the Glorantha source book just to get some history of Glorantha for our RuneQuest campaign. So that's some role-playing stuff. I had a Kickstarter.
Lots of books.
Lots of books, yeah. Very, very pretty books.
Before you carry on, this frugal thing, it's on a sliding scale.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go towards the heavy end anytime soon. I'm getting that sense.
Any second now, mate. I had my Age of Towers Kickstarter turn up from Devil Big Games.
You've had a Kickstarter turn up from Devil Big Games?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's that? Is that a figure game or a board game?
It's a board game.
Board games don't count.
Yeah, it's a proper board game, isn't it? It's not even a war board game. It's like a board game.
Board games don't count. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, I'll bring it down one day. You can play it.
Does that mean the Star Saga doesn't count?
No, that's not figures. You're clutching at straws there, Neil.
Yeah.
It's a board game.
It's got figures. It's not a board game.
Yeah, this is a board game. It's got meeples in it. So that's the board game section sorted out. Then we get on to miniatures games. So I picked up Strontium Dog when I went to Rivale in outside of Bristol, and a few of the
shiny.
Yeah. I like strontium dog. It's too fast, AD.
It's like deep intakes of breath, and Hobbsy's voice starts to slow. You know something's coming.
Yeah. So yeah, I got strontium dog. My Kickstarter from Bad Squid turned up. Thank you, Annie. It was a bit more than one figure. But I do. That's a couple. But I'd like to support the younger manufacturers out there who are doing things differently. Plus, the figures are gorgeous.
They are nice.
They are lovely. And then Adeptus Titanicus and Lord of the Rings. So.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Back up, just slightly. So, I mean, admittedly, you have been talking about Adeptus Titanicus for some time.
I have, yeah.
But it's a big box, isn't it?
It is a very big box. There's some very big figures in there.
One of which I have to. I mean, I know we're going to be talking about it. Dave, what are you doing?
Sorry, I'm just pulling out the rack for the Welsh Wizard. Thumb screws aren't going to be enough.
No.
Right. Just trying to get it out the corner.
Yeah.
I put it away from the last time we needed it.
Right. Okay. So I know you were talking about Adeptus Titanicus and beautiful job on your first World War Titan, by the way. But I know we're going to probably maybe talk about that in hobby. But Lord of the Rings.
Well,
I thought you got all your Lord of the Rings figures for the game that shall not be named.
Well, you see, it's the way I looked at it. It was a good deal.
You could sell anything to him if you tell him it's a good deal.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest, it was a good deal. And
research purposes, yeah.
Research purposes. I wanted to have a look at the rules, and they had some nice orcs in there, which I haven't got yet. So I bought them mainly for the orcs. Because obviously you haven't had enough of painting Rohan cavalry.
How many Rohan have you got now?
Not as many as Matt from Turnbull Games.
Yes, that's right. I saw them out on the table. He says any excuse to get lots of Rohan out.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah, that was funny. That was one of my best quotes of the day from Mr. Plowman. Hello, Ralph. When Ralph went, I thought I had a lot of orcs. Says he. He says, where are they? He says, oh, they're those 5 bases just there in the middle of the table, surrounded by this massive horde of things.
Oh dear. Brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah. So anyway, that completes my major confessional of the last 2 months. There was other little bits and bobs. We don't have to go into those. Yeah.
So Dave, how do you think I'm buying rather a lot of 8 paintbrushes and 4 pots of paint? How do you feel that fares on the sliding scale of a lot?
Well, I think it was quite a lot. Really, it was a lot. I'm quite impressed with you, Neil. I mean, I thought you'd spent a lot more than that. I think that's almost positively refrained for you. You're pretty close to the road of recovery, I think.
Yeah, I have spent some stuff. I have bought some kind of like non-figure but hobby-related things.
Well, here we go.
Well, I've just bought like a couple of pots of paint here and there, and I bought some MDF storage things. But yeah, little bits like that. Nothing major.
They don't count after a holiday. We want to concentrate on the major stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So
I think I've been positively frugal compared to somebody around here.
Electroshock treatment, I think, is needed probably for the Welsh Wizard now.
Indeed. So anything has tempted? Anything that you've seen in the last couple of weeks? You kind of gone, ooh, that looks interesting.
Yeah, and I bought her.
I saw it. I bought it.
You saw it. Yeah. I bought, yeah. Oh, I keep remembering stuff. 2 other things. Okay, temptations. One was when the pledge manager for Lifeform opened. I bought a copy. I bought a copy on Pledge Manager, although I'm reliably informed that doesn't count because it's a board game. Thank you, Mr. Luff. And then the other thing was, I've just although they haven't arrived yet, I think they're due for release in the next couple of weeks. I've pre-ordered, again, Star Wars Legion, Boba Fett, and the, Biker Scouts. Because it's Boba Fett and because they're Biker Scouts. And Biker Scouts are cool and Boba Fett isn't desperately cool. And if you don't get them now, I think they'll be out of stock in like a couple of weeks, if that.
So why are they doing a Boba Fett when they're concentrating on Jedi? And, Endor and bloody Ewoks and things.
I really, you know what? I've seen somebody convert, sculpting their own Ewoks.
Sad.
What were they making them out of? Bundles of hair?
No, they're green stuff, but someone's been sculpting it. I mean, they're actually very good, but most people just saw it and kind of went, no, just stop. No. Well, I think they just decided to release Boba Fett as a character simply because Boba Fett's cool. I mean, in the next set of releases, you're looking at Chewbacca and some Wookiees, and then for the Imperials, they're releasing the Emperor. Now, I must admit, I wouldn't have thought the Emperor would be Andy's Imperial God. I wouldn't have thought the Emperor would be somebody who kind of wanders around the battlefield. But, they're just kind of, I think they're just kind of releasing like iconic characters. And of course the thing is that because I don't own Imperial Assault, I'm buying them for Legion. Obviously you already own them for Imperial Assault, so they're not quite as, they're not quite so desirable for you because you already have them.
Mm-hmm.
In almost the same scale, but not quite.
Yes. Well, so shall we move on to our next section?
Indeed. So, so that is our confessional completed. So, Mr. Luff, a great guru, can we have absolution for our sins?
Well, I think you can for just trying a little bit more, Neil. But I think Hobbs is damned, basically.
I'm just a lost cause, mate.
There's just no hope for him, is there, really?
Yeah.
To be honest. It's finished.
I feel like I've let you down, Dave.
You've only let yourself down.
Oh, I haven't.
He's looking at all these boxes and going, mine.
Yes.
Hi everyone, Neil here. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you are, I'm wondering, would you consider becoming a patron of the show? For as little as $1 a month, you can help support us in what we're doing with the show. For that, you can get access to a monthly question and answer show, and that will also allow you to ask questions. If you pledge more, you potentially get bonus podcasts. And you never know, you might even get invited to be on the show yourself. If you want to know more details, please follow the link to our Patreon page, which is on the front of the website. That's www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. Thanks a lot. I can hear the rack going, but I can't hear the screams. Okay, this is right. Okay, this is a slightly amended version of what we've been up to. This part of the show, we're going to be doing a bit of a hobby chat. So we're talking about games we played, stuff we've been painting, and perhaps talking about maybe some tips or tricks or stuff we've discovered while doing so. Okay, so first off, what games have we been playing So Hobbs, anything spring to mind as opposed to anything that leaps out at you about what games you've been up to in the last couple of months?
Yeah. One of the things I've been doing is me and my mate Mark in the War Games capital of the world. We've been doing our Shadows of Enormity campaign. So we actually sat down all over summer, and we've done the first 8 scenarios from the Shadows of Enormity game, and we've had a great time. And it's the first time we've actually played a game continuously for that amount of time. It's been quite good. So that's been fun. And we had a visitor down in Welsh Wales, a Mr. Peak.
Oh,
of the fabled Peakatorium.
You mean that glorious construction? What I was invited up to open?
That's the one.
In a glorious opening event.
Yeah. So Colin, hello Colin.
Hello Colin.
He came down to Cardiff, and we put on a massive Bag the Hun game. Jeff, hello Jeff. He sorted the whole thing out. So we had a 12-foot long table, 8 players. Me and Jeff were umpiring, and we basically ran it as 2 games. And then as the units got together in the middle, we compressed that down to 1 game, and it was basically a Japanese assault on some fortified American islands. And
hang on a second, islands.
Yeah.
Hang on, I thought it was meant to be attacking. I thought it was
always islands. It was just islands.
I thought it was meant to be attacking some sort of naval naval task force.
No. Me and Jeff most definitely didn't forget to bring the boats. That never happened.
Right.
It was always going to be an island.
Sorry, I stand corrected by mistake.
You must have misheard you must have misheard, Neil, because I mean, aircraft carriers and destroyers and merchant ships sounds very similar to islands.
Indeed, I mean, yes, it is. If you say it in a certain light,
yeah, it does, yeah. So okay, so me and Jeff both forgot to bring the boats for the.
Hang on. It's bad enough one person forgetting, but both of you?
Yeah, we both forgot it. So we quickly had to change the armament on some of the Japanese bombers because we thought the torpedoes would be really useless against an island. So we gave them bombs.
Does anybody remember the film? Is it Operation Petticoat?
Yeah.
Remember Operation Petticoat with the famous sunk truck?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought I'd point that out since you're talking about torpedoes and irons.
Yeah. So we had a massive game, and as we couldn't have planned it better. But right at the end, Colin, with his last Japanese bomber, managed to get into position and do the last piece of damage on the airfield on the island, and win the game for the Japanese. So well done, Colin. But it was a good game.
Excellent stuff. Cool.
There's been other games, but nothing really worth still yammering on about.
Yeah, we've been playing lots and lots of different bits and pieces. Couple of standouts, plus a game which we got to play and then I decided not to buy. Interesting. Got to play Kill Team, the new Kill Team from Games. That's one thing. Haven't Games Workshop had a busy summer? 3, was it 3?
Just a bit.
3 major releases. What was it? So obviously you've had Kill Team, Adeptus Titanicus, Battle of Pelennor Fields, and have you seen the trailer for Rogue Trader? That just released.
Yeah, that's because it could be a Kill Team.
It's kind of a Kill Team tie-in, plus the fact it also looks a little bit like Necromunda / Space Hulk sort of thingy, innit? But cocky, busy summer. Anyway, so I thought I'd have a look at Kill Team because it's like, finally we have a skirmish version of 40k in a box. Now I know Kill Team's been around for a couple of editions of 40k, a couple of editions of 40k now. Was it first introduced? Was it 4th, 5th edition first introduced it?
Something like that, yeah. I can't remember when.
Because it was wasn't it Death Watch that first came out with Kill Team? If I remember one, was that the first time they kind of came around? Anyway, so decided to give it a go. Went up to Boards and Swords in Derby. Hi guys. And I had a demo game there, and I have to say I was underwhelmed because it reminded me so much of playing first edition Necromunda with a few bells and whistles. That I was kind of open to Kill Team. I was open to potentially getting hold of Kill Team, and although it's got a few. It's got a few bits, a few changes of mechanics which kind of not make it quite so I go, you go, and a couple of other things. It's like, I can see what they were doing there. Ultimately, it actually made me face the possibility that, and even like looking through the book, and I'm a big like Dark Angels fan, massively into Eldar. I mean, I had 3 Eldar armies at one point. It was like, I had a Craftworld army, I had a Windrider host, I had a Harlequin force. I was massively into Eldar. My favourite race. I was looking at it kind of going, yeah, okay. And I kind of realised that I think potentially I might be done with 40k. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love Space Hulk. Stuff like that, but I really thought that Kill Team would get me back into it, even in a small way. And to be fair, they've done a really good job with it. And even if you look at the expansions, buy a box, and you get all the models you need for a new squad plus some terrain, and it's it's like £30, £35 for basically a new army plus some terrain. It's a really good product, and the models are great, and the terrain is is really, really nice. And I kind of went, yeah.
Mm.
So, I was really open to thinking, okay, I'm gonna get back into it. I might get back into Kill Team. And actually, more to the point, it's driven me back towards something like Dead Zone, for example, which because it's kind of a similar sort of thing. And actually, I prefer Dead Zone to what we were doing with, basically playing Skirmish 40k. In fact, I was surprised, but it's pushed me back into something that I've already got. So there you go, Dave Frugality. Rather than buying something new and shiny, I'm looking at stuff I've already got, but it's still in the box. There we go.
So it's new then.
It is. That's a wonderful thing with like buying stuff and then putting it away, and then when you're sorting out, you kind of open all this box. It's like, oh look, I mean, it's like, because I say I was going with Dead Zone. I was looking at, right, I think I need to, because I said I got the new supplement for Dead Zone 2nd edition, and I was thinking, that means I'm going to have to go and get the 2nd edition rule book and buy some dice. And then as I was going through the boxes of all the, because I got like 2 crates of all the Dead Zone stuff I've got. Yeah. Okay. Because I backed the first Kickstarter and also Infestation, which is one with the Veermen. And then, and as I was working through everything I'd got, I suddenly discovered that I actually had I already had a hard copy of the 2nd edition rulebook and dice, just in an envelope. Look, they're already here. Excellent stuff. Yeah, so it's like discovering a whole new game. It's brilliant. So, did that. Been playing, several different games with Josh. So, lots of things like, still playing X-Wing, 1st edition, Test of Honor, and a few bits and pieces. Great thing we've gone back to recently is that we have rediscovered, not that we lost it, but we hadn't played it for ages, we rediscovered Lord of the Rings card game. I've been playing that for 2 or 3 weeks now. It's a good game. Really enjoying that. Really enjoying that. Actually, suddenly realising just how many decks I've got for that and how many scenarios we've got that I haven't played. I'm kind of going, that'll keep us going for a bit.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
So we do that, been playing, as I say, and then we've been playing, then obviously we've been round at Mr. Luff's on Thursday nights, and then Mr. Luff has decided to join us on Mondays as well. So now I'm gaming twice a week with Mr. Luff. Can you believe it?
How's that going for you, Dave?
That good, huh?
Yeah. And at this point, dear listener, we've just lost Mr. Luff.
Mike asked the question,
Well,
and Dave dropped off the call.
I'm back.
Yay, he's back.
That was so funny. How's that going for you, Mr. Luff? Drops off.
Yeah.
They can keep that in.
Yeah.
It was the shock.
Yeah. So Dave's back, everybody. So, what's it been like playing with Neil twice a week then, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Dave, what games have you been playing?
What we've been playing Gloomhaven. I think we're into about our 4th one now, and I think we've actually finally got all the rules right, apparently, now.
Yeah, we were playing it a bit wrong.
Go on, Neil.
No,
tell them
no,
a bit Monday. You tell them a bit about why we were playing it wrong on Monday.
Well, why didn't you say this? Because we could actually do a review of the game.
Indeed, actually, yes. Let's save it. Now, okay. One thing is, the one thing we've been playing a lot of in various different ways and forms are basically, dungeon crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
Playing lots of dungeon crawlers, and yes, lots of Gloomhaven, which you've been really impressed with, haven't you, Dave?
We have, but the thing is, I've got to say this because Hobbsy, I think, will appreciate this. We found out, Hobbsy, that our characters have been too overpowered.
Yeah.
We got numero uno extra strong, probably stronger than you can actually get in the game characters.
Yeah.
And I said, that is going to be incredibly hard for us to do anything in this game now, Neil. And he went, yeah, and I went, we can't even win. We can't even win when we're the best players we can possibly be, the best characters we can possibly have. What chance do we have now?
Well. Maybe you want to read on to the rules and see if there's an easy play section.
What one for feckless group of adventurers?
Yeah. Look in the feckless adventurers back.
I
was thinking about that, interestingly, and again, this is something that might end up being a discussion point, but thinking about, how a lot of board games, and especially dungeon crawlers, are almost touted as being RPG light. Yeah, that's kind of the in phrase. Oh, it's RPG light. Yeah. Whereas actually what they mean, it's a bit like D&D 5th edition without all the messing around with actual role playing. That's Meeples and miniatures. Yeah. So I was thinking that that there was a fundamental difference between a dungeon crawler game and a role playing game. In that, and I'll be interested to think if you guys agree with me on this, right? In a role playing game, the aim of the dungeon master is to facilitate the adventure. Okay?
Yes.
Right. And whilst the death of a character it's funny and is always there as jeopardy, again, the jeopardy should never go away because there is always that risk. A total party kill, in my way of thinking, in a role-playing game, is something of a disaster.
Yeah, unless you've been working up to it in a massive campaign, or you're playing Call of Cthulhu.
Everyone dies.
Everyone dies.
Everybody dies, yeah.
Yes. Or paranoia.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Whereas, if you're playing a dungeon crawler, it's a bit more adversarial. And actually, the aim of the game is to kill you. Because that's how it ramps the difficulty.
Mm.
If every scenario could be completed simply by playing the scenario, then surely the game is perhaps too easy. Instead, because it's a board game, it wants to keep you coming back for more. So these cooperative dungeon crawlers are made hard because they want to keep you coming back. So you get that much bigger sense of achievement when you actually complete the scenario.
Yes, yeah, you got to do it 2 or 3 times, isn't it?
Yeah. Your thoughts on that, Mr. Luff?
No, I think you're right. There needs to be an element of difficulty there. I wonder sometimes if it's too difficult, because at the end of the day, you've got to enjoy playing it as well. Getting your backside kicked all the time isn't fun.
Says the Overlord in Dungeon Saga, who appears to not be capable of rolling less than 5 on at least 1 dice.
Oh dear. I do help them out quite a bit, though. Hobbsy. I do help them out quite a bit. Like I like to say things like, "Do you really think you should be doing that when you could be doing this?"
But anyway, gentlemen,
I don't want people to think that I'm a cruel, evil dungeon master, because I think I'm quite kind to you, to be honest.
I will wait on that previous comment. I will wait to hear Mr. Hickman's reactions to that comment about things being hard. Dungeon Saga being hard and things. I mean, okay, yes, I'm still struggling to open doors, but
when I was talking about this hapless team of adventurers, Hobbsy,
I think the word you used was affectless.
Well, there's that as well.
So, what else has caught our eye in the hobby? He says, trying to desperately change the subject.
Okay, well, yeah, that's okay. Okay, so right, so that's what we've been playing, and yes, actually, on the next show, our plan is to do an in-depth chat about Gloomhaven, and tell about it, because it's actually really interesting. It's very different, isn't it, Dave?
It's very difficult.
Hang on a second. Two weeks ago, you were saying, "Oh, this is my favourite co-op game ever."
It is
best co-op
Until
game I've ever played.
We were playing the rules wrong.
It's so fickle, so fickle.
Well, no. Your heart suddenly sinks when you realise, when you go, "Crikey, this is a really hard game, but I'm enjoying playing it." And then Neil pops up this week and goes, "Actually, lads, we've made this 100% too easy, and it should be mega harder." And then you play the game and you're like, "Oh my word,
Hobbsy,
so hard."
Hobbsy, you should have seen his face.
I could imagine that.
On Monday night, when I kind of went, hang on a minute.
I was really, really tired as well. I was struggling to stay awake, but I wanted to come over and play Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
And he was so desperate to go, "Okay, well, I want to level up because I've got enough to basically to get a perk, to get a buff." And then we go, hang on, these buffs don't make sense. I went, guys.
But then, afterwards, at the end of the dungeon, we realised that I could have added a perk, and we could have made it a little bit easier, but we missed that.
Yeah, but
Never mind.
But at the same time, that whole thing of I need to add a perk led to our discovery that we've been playing the game wrong for 3 weeks and making it far too easy, and making Dave's character far too powerful because he was basically waltzing through everything.
Yeah, but even though I was waltzing through everything, and like everyone had all the same cards as I did, as in they were as powerful as I was.
No, they weren't. You were so OP, it was untrue.
Well, yeah, but everyone had the same cards, as in you had all the best cards for your character, and everyone else had all the best cards for their character as well.
Yeah, except for the fact I never got to do combat because no one wants me to do combat.
You chose support class.
Gentlemen.
Hey.
Let me just stop you here. Neil, I'd like you to cut that last 5 minutes of you arguing, and we'll use it at the end of the next show when it all makes sense to people. Because at the moment, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
That's true.
It is very true. It is very.
He did have a choice of another figure.
Yeah. Okay, let's stop and move on and save this for a few weeks' time, because I say we are going to be doing an in-depth look at Gloomhaven. Because,
right, get on with it.
So that's what we're going to do. So okay, that's what we've been playing. Let's talk about what we've been up to, in the hobby. Otherwise, so we'll talk about things we've been painting and any kind of hobby tips and stuff.
And don't just try and skip away from this, Neil. I know what you're trying to do here.
What?
There was another board game we played as well the other week, Mr. Hobbs.
Yes.
It's a game that I've had in cellophane for quite some time now, and I've tried to get it out several times. And a certain someone, let's say, who will remain nameless, we won't say who he is, Shuck, he
subtle.
Yeah, I kept getting this box out, and he kept saying, how about having a game of this? And he went, oh no, we're not going to play yet another Renaissance trading game set round Italy, are we? And I was like, well, what's wrong with a Renaissance trading game? No, I'm not doing it. So this came out 3 or 4 times, and it went back 3 or 4 times into the cupboard.
Cupboard?
Anyway.
It's a shelf.
Cupboard.
Last week. Can I interject? At this point and just to highlight there was one piece of absolutely vital information in all this. Shall we play this game that Mr. Luff failed to impart, and that was the game designer.
Yes, you haven't. Yeah, but you haven't said any of that yet. You didn't say that before as well. So we kept trying to get this game out. Neil kept going, "No, I'm not playing a Renaissance trading game. Like the world needs another Renaissance trading game." Anyway, last week we were a bit of a short ebb, and I can't realise why. I think we'd already played a game or something. We managed to get this out. I think Mr. Hickman said, "Yeah, let's give it a go." So we got this game out.
I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right."
Yeah, he's harumphing. Oh, he's harumphing. It's terrible. And, anyway, so we started playing. Well, we were in about, I don't know, quarter of the way into the game. And this voice from the other side of the table goes, I love this game. It's brilliant. It's excellent. And then he goes, oh, look, it's a Rina Knitzer game as well.
Can you tell the people what the game is?
What's it called now? I've got it here.
It's a facepalm moment. This is right. Yeah,
I've got it.
You've got it. Oh yeah. Oh, shocking indeed, horror. No, it's it's called Strozzi.
Strozzi, right?
It's a Renaissance trading game.
So yes, dear listener, as you can tell, we're back, and we're as professional as ever. Have you missed us?
Yes. Oh look,
6.9 on the Geek, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah. And yes, it is designed by Ron Knizia, who is, yes, one of my favourite board game designers. Because his mechanics and especially his scoring are, the guy's a mathematician, so some of the way he does stuff, it's ingenious. And that game is evil.
Yeah, if you thought Kingdoms was evil, this is even eviler.
I tell you, Hobbsy, we have got to play a 6-player game of this. Next time we come down to Firestorm, we will bring this and play a 6-player game, and it will seriously do your head in.
Easily portable.
That'd be cool.
Right.
You being that, and I'll bring Age of Towers.
Okay, cool.
We can do 6 players with that now.
Oh,
Only
really?
a Wickle game.
Yeah. Right then.
Right. Next. Yes, indeed. So, we've got to talk about painting. Luffy, you hang on. Painting and tips. So, have you painted much over the summer?
Well, yeah. Well, I did. I finished off all my Crusader Gladiators, as I said earlier, and started doing my Irish Warband, and I ended up with my old varnish brush, which was an old Humbrol brush, which was a bit shot it, and I somehow at the same sort of time, that same sort of week, I came across a video on YouTube of some chap making a video showing you how to use Vallejo brush restorer properly, because there isn't actually any instructions that come with it, and there's nothing on the Vallejo site last time I looked. And the idea is basically you get all the brushes you want to restore, sandwich them between a piece of paper or card or tape or whatever, and sort of suspend them in the bottle. Just make 2 little tabs sort of in amongst the bundle of brushes. Just put a sort of like a cardboard tab each side stuck to them all, and just suspend them halfway in the bottle and just leave them for a day or two. And wow, crikey, they don't all come out well.
Don't you decant some of it into a separate container then? It's actually designed that you're meant to leave it in the bottle it comes in.
Well, I suppose you could. I think actually on the video he did decant some out actually.
Because I'm just thinking otherwise it becomes a bit of a one-use product because then it gets full of crap.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was my bottle was already full of crap anyway, to be honest. So I didn't really worry too much about that. But yeah, crikey, it was unbelievable how well it restored it. It was the brush. It's like new. It is again the brush. It's brilliant stuff. I mean, I'm always very careful with my brushes, and I always clean them thoroughly. But with the best will in the world, paint gets up the furrow, and eventually they sort of the furrow starts to balloon, and you end up with a big fat sort of hard top to the brush, and eventually, it just works its way down the brush. But yeah, crikey! It was amazing, to be honest. It was like it was like I almost had a marble round the furrow of old varnish, and it just took it all straight out within about 24 hours. Yeah, amazing stuff.
I'll get some of that. Sounds good.
So that's Vallejo brush restorer.
Vallejo brush restorer. It's like a sort of like a sky blue stuff. It is. I've had that 10 years, and I've always used it, but I've always used it sort of at the end of a paint session where I've just washed my brushes out thoroughly with a bit of like lukewarm water and soap, and then just giving them a bit of a swish around in the brush restorer. But I've never actually used them for sort of like soak them overnight in the brush restorer or anything like that. I never thought of anything like doing anything like that until I saw this video. I can't tell you who did it. It was just something I stumbled across one day at the same time when I was thinking about replacing my paintbrushes.
Cool.
Yeah, so they are. That's something very frugal, that is.
Yeah, I haven't really got any sort of tips really at the moment for painting.
You've been painting much?
Yeah. Yeah. But I've obviously done the big Warlord Titan.
I'm sorry. I've got to say this again. That is stunning. You've done a fantastic job with that, mate. It looks seriously cool.
I'm very pleased with it.
No, right, okay. So, what was the? Can I just ask what the heraldry you were using for that? Because if people don't understand Adeptus Titanicus, they use. It's almost like medieval heraldry on the Titans, don't they? So.
Yeah. It's. I mean, you mean the colour scheme I used?
Yeah, the colour scheme you used. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Legio something or other, which I can't pronounce the name, but it begins with X.
Oh, okay.
Thing. It's basically purple and white.
Yeah,
So,
which I thought was originally when we reminded me of Emperor's Children, but I mean, for a start, purple and white as a kind of a heraldic colour scheme is I mean that just makes a really nice contrast to begin with.
Yeah, no, it's come out really well. I'm really pleased. So I've got to do another one.
So are you doing another one in? Are you doing your two? Are you doing your Titans and Knights as two opposing factions, or are you doing them as a single faction?
No, I'm going to do them as opposing. So
Cool.
I'll do a Proper Chaos one. Because this Legio, whatever they're called, they were actually allied to the Thousand Suns in 40k, so they had a little bit of chaos with them. So, but the next one I'll do is just be a Proper Chaos one.
Cool.
We'll get around to that. So at the moment, I'm back in Lord of the Rings. I got back into my Lord of the Rings stuff, and I've painted about 60 elves. Over the last couple of weeks. I've done a few more of the Lucid Eye figures, and yeah, that's about it really.
Some Strontium dog stuff.
Oh, I forgot the Strontium dog stuff. Yeah, I've done all the Strontium dog stuff. Well, I've done all of the core box. So yeah, it's been
you're a machine, mate. You're a painting machine.
Yes, and now I'm painting something completely different, but we'll come on to that later.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it really.
Cool. Well, July I didn't paint anything in July. Although I have been making scenery.
Yes.
Yes.
Very nice it looks too.
Well,
he's addicted to making scenery, Hobbs. He loves it.
Yeah. I say more of later. Yeah. Basically, yeah. I was and actually, Mr. Luff is right. I really, really enjoy making scenery. I'd had these plastic bamboo things.
Don't let me dry brush any more roads, Neil.
I found something new for roads, mate. I'll mention that in a second. Anyway, so basically, I had stuff to make bamboo forests. I think I can't remember who originally gave me the tip. It might actually have been Rich Jones originally, because he made some say, "Oh, where'd you get that from?" And then loads of people have been talking about it. Basically, it's this kind of I think they use it for model railway stuff, and it's you can get it from China on eBay. And it's about £5 or £6 for this pack of like 100 kind of plastic bamboo pieces, and they're great for making little clumps of bamboo forests, that sort of thing. So I did some of those, but the big thing is how do you make it stand up? Now I've seen people do massive sets of engineering. I mean, I've had people looking at people doing things with, they want to make it so they can take the bamboo out so they can move figures through it. So you've seen people, creating areas where they've got embedded pieces of hollow tube that they can take the bamboo in and out, and massive feats of engineering. And it's like, I just wanted something to stick the bamboo in and make it stand up. So anyway, I had this idea of using Oasis, dry Oasis. It's the stuff you use for flower arranging, but it's specifically it's the dry stuff that you use for dried flowers, not the green stuff that you use for fresh flowers.
I had visions of you sticking it to a CD. I did for a second.
Yeah, more of that later.
Might have been healthier.
Okay, yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, it has been pointed out that this stuff, this stuff, it's like resin. It's like working with resin. Wear a face mask, because actually, if the powder, you do not want to inhale the powder. It's potentially nasty.
Is it?
Apparently so.
Yeah. Slightly carcinogenic, apparently.
Apparently. according to certain studies. Anyway, it doesn't
Really?
say
They allow that stuff on the market?
it doesn't say it on the packaging or anything. It was like, oh, that's interesting. Anyway, but I mean, in the same way as, you know, basically, if you're working with resin, you wear a face mask because you don't want to be inhaling resin dust. You know, it's sort of thing. You know, care and attention. Make sure you wash your hands and it's fine, or wear gloves and what have you. You know, but it's, for me, it's nice, but it's really easy to work because you can cut it with a kitchen knife, and it's cheap and easily available.
And then make a nice sandwich afterwards.
Oh yeah, I've got visions of him making his sandwiches for work next. Oh, yeah, Josh coming in. Yeah, son. They are. There's the bread knife. Cut yourself a few slices of toast off, love. There you go.
Don't worry about that green stuff.
It's not green, it's grey. And funnily enough, don't try this at home. I know. Yeah, I know. Crikey, I don't know. Right. Anyway, you don't need hot wire cutters or anything. A household utensil is perfectly fine.
Just make sure you clean it thoroughly.
Yes.
Well, except for the fact I've just found an old serrated kitchen knife, which I'm only going to be using for using this stuff.
So yes, better still, go to a charity shop and get an old knife.
Well, yeah, that's it. You know. Anyway, so
safety first.
Yeah. So I've used it. So I was using it for this, and I've used it to make some hills. Proper war game hills. None of this gently contoured stuff. Proper contoured hills that you don't find anywhere except on a wargaming table.
Like with ridges on and things, or?
Well, no, just kind of, inch high, inch and a half high.
Square top.
Flattish top. Wargame hills. Just because I wanted a couple. And made some of those, made a few paddy fields. Because that, again, test of honour and potentially for Vietnam games in the future. And then I've been painting. August, I've actually applied paint.
You have?
Two miniatures.
You've probably been doing more painting than I have of late, to be fair. You're overtaking me. That's probably why I picked up a paintbrush, putting it to shame.
Yeah. Right, it started off, I painted some figures. Oh, I forgot, yeah, game. We played a game of Full Moon Jacket. Which is that.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was.
Yeah, which is the game I've been talking about. I talked about it on Jay Arnold's podcast when I was on Jay's podcast over the summer. Werewolves in Vietnam. But I got
as
you do. I got the print and play version, but happened to pick up some 15mm werewolves. Except they're not 15mm, they're kind of 18-20mm because they're Blue Moon figures. But picked them up. Old Glory do them in the UK. So picked up a couple of packs of those, painted those up. Use some 15mm Vietnam Marines that Mr. Hobbs very kindly gave to me a while ago, because he was trying to convince me to do Vietnam in 3 scales rather than just the 2.
You're welcome.
But they come in very useful. So I did some of those, and then I've been painting Gangs of Rome. So finally decided that I needed to paint some Gangs of Rome, so myself and Mr. Hickman can start playing Gangs of Rome. And especially since we happen to have entered into a play day for Gangs of Rome at the end of October. So we thought we'd best start getting figures painted and get a couple of games in. So I've been painting Gangs of Rome figures. painting my first set of 6, and hopefully I should have some more done probably by the end of the week. Actually, they're kind of 3/4 there. I need to I need to finish off. I need to do just need to finish off. A few bits and pieces, but yeah. So that's what I've been doing. But yeah. So hobby tip actually. Yeah.
Pick up a brush.
Well, yeah, there is that thing. Pick up a brush, but yeah, I am. It's oh, that was the other thing I discovered. Okay, Hobbycraft do these. I've just started. They do a whole set of felt. Well, kind of A4 size felts. For crafts. They've just released some new ones. They've only been out, and I don't know if they're all on the shop yet. I basically discovered them. We went to Hobbycraft in Coventry, and they're now doing well. They call them plush. Basically, they are textured, quite heavily textured felt. Which, looking at it, for example, if you have a green one. And you just put it out. It looks like a lawn. In all seriousness, it looks like you've taken a piece of felt and applied, static grass on it. So I've grabbed some dark brown ones, and I thought, I'll give it a go and see. Because originally I thought, I'll use those for area terrain, for woods and stuff, or difficult ground. And it's different from, so it's something that looks a little bit different from, because at the moment we've got like pieces of MDF that we use for that. But the other thing that suddenly struck me is that, flexible roads. So I'm going to give that a try and see what it comes out like. It may look crap. I mean, it won't look anywhere like anything like the pieces of art that Mr. Ibbotson is bringing out when he's done his new roads. I mean, flipping heck. Guys, do yourself a favour. Follow Jim Ibbotson. We'll put a link, let's send that to Aristocracy on Twitter. If you're on Twitter. I don't think he's got his blog sorted out yet. But this guy is seriously talented. Not only with a brush, but also in making terrain. And he's also a really talented model photographer. So not only can he paint well, but he then takes these stunning pictures of what he does.
Enough to make you sick.
It is. Yeah. It really is. But that's it. And he's this week he's been working on some roads, and they look really really nice. It's an interesting thing. I'm just kind of having to go with them and see what they come out like. But they could be useful. They come in several different colours, but plush felt squares from Hobbycraft. Have a look, see what you think.
Sounds good.
Cool. Right. We done for that bit? I think we are.
There's a couple of things I wanted to mention.
Oh, go on then.
If that's okay. First of all, we did mention the Lord of the Rings card game earlier. Have you tried the game on Steam? They've just released it, or they've released the early version of it. It's the computerized version.
I haven't. Josh has, and he has to be said. He said he wasn't impressed. Basically, because he likes the way the card game works, and he thought the online version is different.
It's slightly different, yeah.
He thought
amalgamated.
He thought it was a bit like playing Hearthstone.
I haven't played Hearthstone, so I don't know.
Okay,
but they've sort of amalgamated the quest phase and the action phase into one phase.
Right.
So, which is quite interesting. It's quite nicely done. I picked it up on Steam. It was about £5 for the early version. So it's.
And then you have to buy expansions for it, don't you?
Yeah, but you don't have. I mean, you start off with like a basic adventure. So, but I thought £5 to try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, and it does look really nice, and it's got all the artwork. Plays very very similar to the card game version.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to get your take on it. And, I'd say it is subtly different in the turn order, but the game is essentially the same.
I have to give it a go. I know, I know someone in our gaming group may have purchased it and a few of the available expansions. Can't think of who. Off the top of my head. Yeah.
Sorry, Cover Dave. Yeah, so there's that. And also, I've been doing some role playing, as I've sort of mentioned, and I've been doing it online using a website called Roll20.
Oh, right, okay.
Now, if anybody's interested in role playing and hasn't got anybody to play with, have a look at the Roll20 site because it's a brilliant portal. You can join up with other games, but you essentially you can create your own games in there. They've got all the character sheets that you'll ever need. It's got massive support for D&D 5th and for a few other games. But it's a great way of actually getting a role-playing game in without having to sort of meet up. Because, we're starting a campaign. And whenever we try and meet up, it's like, we'll try and get together in about 6 weeks' time because that's when anybody's free. But now we can do it online with a headset and microphone. And it's a very, very interesting way of actually doing role-playing. So if you're interested, go to roll20.com and have a look. You can get a free account, log on, create your own game, or just go and join one. So, yeah, brilliant. Really, really useful.
Right, okay. Oh, that sounds interesting. So, all right, so does it have, so it's not just like, because obviously you can just kind of talk on something like what we're doing at the moment. We can do that on Skype. So I'm assuming it's got extra bits and pieces for for doing all sorts of stuff depending on what you're role playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without wanting to sort of spend hours talking about it because I probably could, but essentially, you have one person who will be the GM. They will create a game, and they get all sorts of, shall we say, stuff that you can use. So you can create. It's almost like a website designer. So you can create a page. And on that page, you can put backgrounds in. You can have little avatars for various monsters. You can create handouts that you can show to players at various times. You can create character sheets that you can give to players to use and that only they can see. It's got a dice rolling mechanic in there. So you can see the dice being rolled. It's even got little 3D dice that will roll across the screen if you want that. So the GM basically has full control of the scenario. So say there's like 3 parts of a scenario, he will create the 3 pages with the various maps or backgrounds or whatever he wants on there. Or she, sorry. And then the players basically go through the game. So it's all done over audio. You can put video on there as well. You can have sound effects that you can play at certain times. And like I say, the character sheets, a lot of the character sheets are really, really have been integrated in. So, like for example, with the Rune Quest one, if I wanted to attack with my sword, I just basically press a button on my character sheet, and it does the dice rolls and the damage hits and everything else, and tells you exactly what happens, and everybody can see it. So, it's a different way of playing it. But what we noticed, we did our first game last week with Ralph. Hello, Ralph. And it's amazing how quickly you forget about the rules and you're just playing a role-playing game because it's just there.
Yeah.
And when you want to attack, you press a button. Okay, you've hit them. This is what happens. It's brilliant. And, for somebody who wants to get into role-playing but finds it difficult to meet up with people, because of time constraints and work, it's fantastic because you just literally just log on, stick your headset on, and play a game.
That's where a lot of the sort of games are going, aren't they? In some respects, there.
Yeah.
You've triggered something that I just forgot about. Actually, Gloomhaven is coming to Steam. They're going to bring out a computer version.
Are they?
Yes, it was announced on August the 4th, if I do believe it was right. Yeah. They're going to make a fully computerized version of Gloomhaven. there is actually a header already up on Steam. So if you go on Steam and tap in Gloomhaven, you get a brief look at it. It's expected to arrive the first quarter of 2019.
Right.
Mm.
That'd be cool.
Yes, if they do a good job on it, I will be buying it.
There are an awful lot of really good board games on Steam now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ports going on. Yeah.
It's a Command and Colours Ancients one coming soon, I think, isn't it?
It was meant to be out at the end of August, but don't mention that to our good friend the Cranky Lawyer, because he seems to be getting a little bit annoyed about the fact that it isn't out yet, despite the fact they've been saying it's coming out at the end of August. Yeah, because they did a version for the Great War, which is I haven't played the ported version, but we do like the board game, don't we, Dave? The Great War board game.
Yeah.
So they've done that, and yes, they said they were working on a Command and Colours Ancients version, which would be excellent. I'm looking forward to playing that.
I think there's because I don't know how many people. Neil knows, and I don't know if you actually know about it, obviously, but I'm quite a big computer gamer and always have been. I build my own PCs and etc. And I have noticed actually in the last few years that there's been a serious lack of inventiveness of games within the PC industry, and they have really latched on to board games now as being a bit of a new unexplored sort of haven of ideas, really. And there's a lot of stuff now beginning to be ported over, and I think we're going to see more and more of it in the next 5 years, to be honest. I think there'll be a lot of it, because the computer gaming side, they're pretty dry of ideas at the moment, and new ideas are coming. They're feeding off new ideas from board games, basically.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing at all. And what I've read up about the Gloomhaven transfer, it's going to be ported. They're going to attempt to. They say they are going to port it over exactly as it is the board game. So it isn't going to be a game that's just called Gloomhaven and will have a flavour of Gloomhaven. It's going to be ported over exactly like the board game, but with the sexy graphics as well.
Interesting, especially considering. I know we're talking about Gloomhaven, and we will be talking about Gloomhaven in a few weeks. But considering Gloomhaven was when I said what's Gloomhaven like, I asked somebody what's Gloomhaven like, and they basically turned around and said, "Do you remember playing Baldur's Gate?"
Yeah,
and it's like a board game version of Baldur's Gate.
Oh, cool.
I went, oh right, okay. Now we appear to be going full circle. It's like, okay, that's, yeah. Strange. Okay, well, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it's like. Cool.
So, time for a quick break.
Time for a quick break. And when we're coming back, we'll be talking about a new section that will be kind of a regular section we'll be talking about as we move on throughout the rest of the year.
Cool.
We always love to hear from you, our listeners. You can contact us in a couple of ways. You can do that via email at mailbag@meeplesandminiatures.co.uk, or you can now leave a voicemail message for us. The number to call is 0116 318 4114. Please don't, call charges may apply.
So, we're on to a new section. Actually, this is a brainchild of Mr. Hobbs, so I'll let him introduce it.
Oh, thank you, Neil. Right, so this is provisionally called the Meeples Challenge because we couldn't think of anything else to call it. But we might call it something else in the future. What we thought we'd do and this could go catastrophically wrong in a few weeks. But we thought that myself and Neil would each take on a challenge, which is to do a gaming project of something that we haven't really done before, something we always wanted to do, and basically audio blog it on the podcast about our progress. So I think on this show we're going to sort of introduce what we want to do at a high level, and then next one we can talk about our progress, what we've been doing, what we've been buying, what we want to do. And it'll go on basically until we either A, finish the project, or B, which is more likely, get bored of it and do something else. So that's the sort of premise. Now, I don't know what Neil's project is, and I think you might know what mine is, because I've been yapping on about it on Twitter for the last few days. But, yes, so the Meeples challenge. So, who wants to go first?
Oh, tell you what. Well, let's. Since it's your baby, let's find out what you're doing first, shall we, Mr. Hobbs?
Okay, I'm going to be dipping my toe back into Napoleonics, Mr. Shuck.
Okay.
So I do like Napoleonics. I play Napoleonics in 28mm. I do sharp practice in the Peninsula and the War of 1812, and I play it in 15mm in the Peninsula or in the 100 Days using Over the Hills. I've also got Blucher for doing sort of grand tactical stuff using the cards, but I wanted to do something different. So my plan, I want to do a sort of tactical game, not a grand tactical game, but something that sits between Over the Hills and Blucher. So
Right.
where you're sort of operating as a sort of corps commander, so to say.
Right.
And I want to get out my comfort zone, because my comfort zone in Napoleonics is always the Peninsula, because that's the one I know most about. And I don't really know much about the other campaigns that took place during that whole period. So I want to hit one of the other campaigns, maybe Russia or his campaign into Italy early on, or up through Germany and Austria,
Okay.
or maybe Egypt. So I'm going to do a bit of research and pick up one of the campaigns I quite like, and I'm thinking of doing it in 2mm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2mm wargaming, because I've seen what Mark Blackhouse and Sidney Roundwood have done. It just looks fantastic. And I just want to. And years and years ago, a mate of mine did Great Big Game of Waterloo using 2mm.
Yeah.
And we had these sort of 40mm square bases with a whole. I think they had a whole division on each base. And it just looked spectacular. And don't say it's just a counter. And yeah, it is. It's just a counter. But when it was all spread out, you've got that entire Battle of Waterloo in front of you on the table. It just looks fantastic. And I just thought, I really fancy doing that. And I've kept it sort of, I haven't really got around to doing it because something else has come up. But I thought for this one, I'm going to try a bit of 2mm. So
Right.
all I've got to do really is work out the campaign I want to do. Work out a set of rules, but I've been pointed at a set of rules by Andy Walpole, who runs the Battlefields in Cardiff, who's been on the show.
Yes.
Now Andy is a huge Napoleonic fan, and he's mentioned a set of rules called Ets on Results, or ESR, which are produced in America by the Wargaming Company.
Right.
And it's
Not heard of those.
No, I hadn't. They're tactical, so one base is a battalion. So a division would be 5 or 6 bases.
Right.
So you are playing at a core. It's all about the command structure and the command and control, as you would expect. But apparently they do campaign books, which they're aimed for at ESR, but they also do conversion packs, which you can get online for each of these rule books to allow you to use the scenarios and everything that's in them in other games, which is a nice way. But apparently The thing with ESR is you can play it at different sort of, I was going to say scales, but that's probably the wrong word, but you can play it like where 200 yards is equal to a foot, or 150 yards is a foot, or down to 50 yards is equal to a foot. And that would then dictate the size of the base for the battalion. So you can, if you wanted to, play a 28 mil game by having 6 or 8 figures on a big base, or you can go right down the bottom and play it almost like a counter. And each of their scenarios has the maps with the different sizes depending on the scale of game you want to play, or the physical scale. So if you play scenario A in the 50 yards size, which is the biggest, it might be on like a 12 by 6 table. If you play at the small size, it might be on a 2 by 3. But it's essentially the same game. And each scenario has the briefing for each side, plus a separate briefing if you want to have an umpire as well. So you don't always know what you're going to be up against. You don't even know where they're going to be. All you know is what you've got.
Right.
So that does sound quite interesting. So I'm going to probably have a little look at those and report back. So that's my challenge, is to try and do a bit of 2 mil Napoleonic.
Wow.
But I think if I do it right, I reckon I can use these bases with the 2 mil figures on them and get some sabos and use them in commanding colours.
Yeah.
And possibly, if I had like 3 or 4 of them together, I could use them in Blue as well.
Definite possibility. Yeah.
So,
and if people are wondering and they haven't seen it, okay, I think the best thing you can do, if you wander over to Henry Hyde's Patreon page, I'll put a link on it. But he did a Flickr gallery of the other Partisan show from a few weeks ago. One of the games there, funny enough, was the aforementioned Mark and Sir Sidney. And they did a 2 mil game, and I believe it was English Civil War, Siege of Portsmouth.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah,
and that was gorgeous. Absolutely good. And so looking at that, it does give you an impression of exactly what can be achieved in that scale. Really, really interesting. And then shout out to Neil Hughes, who's looking at doing doing 2 mil English Civil War using it for King and Parliament, which is very tempting.
Yeah.
So cool. I'll be seriously interested to find out how all that goes and how you find painting 2 mil.
Yes. Well, I've picked up a couple of bases and I've learnt a lot. But yeah, it's a completely different style of painting. It's something I need to get used to. You've got to be very brave to paint 2 mil. You've got to use very bright colours and, lots of black between them. It's not just a case of getting a block and going strip of white at the bottom, strip of blue in the middle, and a strip of flesh on the top and some black. You've literally got to paint each figure with stripe. It's very interesting way of painting. And also very quick. I painted up 110 French Napoleonics in half an hour.
I will be interested to hear more about that, and also to hear Mr. Luff's opinion, because Mr. Luff was always banging on about 6 mil, more than me even. It'll be interesting to compare and contrast styles and what things look like. Right. Okay, so that's your challenge.
That's my challenge, yeah.
Yeah, my challenge falls in something that is kind of on. It was on the back. It's kind of on the back burner, but it's a project I haven't started yet, so I think it counts. Okay, that is for, and I'm taking Badgers and Burrows. Now, I love the Badgers and Burrows range from O2 Miniatures. Hello, Mike and Joe. You've heard them on this show a couple of times. They do a seriously nice range of anthropomorphic animals, and earlier this year, the hardback edition of the rules were published by Osprey. Right. And I bought some figures. and hopefully I'm getting some more in a few weeks for a couple of extra warbands. But I haven't got round to painting them yet, primarily because having not painted for a while, I wanted to get my eye in doing something else and then really have a good go at painting these, because miniatures wise they are gorgeous and they deserve a really good paint job. The reason I'm putting it as a project is this. Right, up until the start of the week, what I've been planning on doing was to get a couple of new sets of warband figures, and then that will mean I've probably got about 4 or 5 warbands to paint up, different things, and then I need to look at a campaign. I'll come on to that in a second, but I wanted to paint up a few warbands, and then I was going to thinking, okay, buildings. Now I've got the resin buildings that Oathsworn used to produce. They don't produce them anymore. They've just produced a new set of really nice looking buildings with Sarissa. And my intention, up until the start of the week, was just to get that set of buildings from Sarissa to paint as a small village for use in the game. Then on Monday, on Monday. Oh, no, it wasn't Monday. Back into last week. Last Friday, 31st of August. I think I saw it at the weekend. On the Burrows and Badgers Facebook group, there was a few pictures posted by a guy called Tim Eagling. Hello, Tim, if you're a listener. I don't know if you are, but he posted a set of photos of something he had scratch built called the Green Dragon Inn. Basically, it is a 28mm tavern produced entirely using foam board, card, balsa wood, and looks like things like stirrers. And I was looking at that and thinking that, not only that, I think it's got a teddy bear fur roof. He's done a seriously good job in it. It looks superb. And of course, the thing is, it's custom terrain, so it's one of a kind. As Dave pointed out earlier, I really like making terrain. And one of the things I liked about the Burrows and Badgers resin terrain, they did a mouse house. People might remember a mouse house, which was kind of half embedded in a hill. And I thought, that looked really cool. But the Sarissa stuff is nice, but it hasn't quite got that same character. Yeah, it's just a different style. And it's interesting because they basically turn around and say, okay, as far as the actual kind of background of Northumbria, where the game is based, is that the towns are look like late medieval, 17th century, 16th century, late medieval, or to like 17th century. Yeah, very much a kind of, what's the style? The
Tudor style?
Tudor style, thank you. That's what I was after. The houses are kind of Tudor style. Whereas it's a bit more rustic out in the villages. And I've got this idea, and I suddenly thought, especially having seen what Tim's achieved, using, relatively basic modelling materials, I really fancy making my own village, with houses and stuff embedded into hills and various other bits and pieces. But even so, just making, rather than buying something, which to be honest would be easier, is actually making it. So that's what my challenge is going to be. And then sorting out a campaign. And of course, the classic thing is, from that sort of thing, is I've got 2 ideas. One is looking at doing a Wind in the Willows sort of thing. With I know I've got I've got one force already. I just need to get the weasels. But the other one was looking at stuff for Redwall. Now, strangely enough, I've never read the Redwall novels.
I haven't.
No. So as part of my research, I'm going to grab a few of the series of Redwall and see how they would convert into a set of linked scenarios. Because I believe Redwall is very much kind of mice versus rats, if I remember rightly. But I mean, I'm open to correction because again, I've only kind of read stuff on Wikipedia. I've not actually read any of the novels. But that's the idea for my challenge. It's as well as painting some seriously nice miniatures. It's actually about creating the world in which that takes place. So it's not just the buildings. It'll be making some walls and fences and some new hedges and various other bits and pieces. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And so I'm hoping to expand, especially my terrain making chops as part of that.
That sounds brilliant, mate. Really does sound interesting.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to contact him and ask him if he's got another, other than the Burrows and Badgers Facebook group, which I believe is a closed group. But I'm going to ask him if he's got those pictures posted elsewhere, if he's got any on a blog, because he's doing a really nice job, and it is inspiring. I kind of think, and you look at what he's done, and kind of think, wow, actually, you should be able to achieve something like that. So yeah, I've got to give it a go. See see how it works out.
Cool. So, check back in a couple of weeks' time and see how we get on.
Indeed. And you never know. We might even get Mr. Luff involved, doing something.
Yeah, you can make some loads.
No, don't make. I'm gone. Don't make me do any roads. I don't want to do any roads.
Excellent.
Don't make me do them, Neil.
And that about brings us towards the end of our first show. Just talking about what we've been up to since we last spoke. Next time around, I promise we will be slightly more organised, and it will be more of a case of looking at. We are planning to do an in-depth review of Gloomhaven, and chatting a bit more about other games and stuff that we might have had a chance to see and what have you. So that is the promise for next time round, an in-depth review of Gloomhaven. By which time we probably
got the rules right.
Got the rules right, and Dave
completed a dungeon.
Dave might have even got to the point where he has been completely depressed by the fact that getting the rules right may have completely changed the game. You never know.
And the fact I've never even seen it means I can ask questions.
Indeed. So so that's what the plan is for next time. However, that is going to be not in a couple of weeks' time, because you see, the thing is, despite the fact that we've had 2 months opportunity to take a holiday, one of our number decides that you can't possibly take a holiday during the summer.
No,
but
bloody kids everywhere. Spoiling my holiday.
So, on what would be the third week in which we would record, Mr. Hobbs is gallivanting out somewhere in other parts of the planet.
Yep.
He's not going somewhere, is he?
He is.
I am. To Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, eh? Is there
Yeah,
something
before.
gaming going on there?
No.
No.
No. Off to the Black Sea. away with the Russians.
Mm.
I bet you'll find something gaming related. That's your challenge. Find something locally gaming related at the Black Sea.
Okay.
Right. So that means that the next episode of Meeples and Miniatures will not be in a couple of weeks away. It will be actually pretty much nearer towards the end of September by the time we get the next episode out. And sorry, that's all Hobbs' fault.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. I'll just put that out there. He's off enjoying himself. I don't know.
You could blame my wife for having her birthday in September. But you'd be a braver man than me.
Enough said. Which so that's what we're going to have it. Which leaves us with only a single thing to do, and that is to come back to we are continuing with a feature that came about towards the end of the shows we were running previously. Except we're going to call it something new.
Well, you're actually going to call it something new?
Yeah.
Well, you see, I don't know about you, but it's amazing. I don't know if this relates to chaos theory or what have you, but the universe appears to find its balance. For every yin, there is a yang. And so it appears
going on about
that for every Dave Luff,
for every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
For every Dave, there appears to be my other mate Dave, who we have newly christened as the Anti-Luff.
The Anti-Luff, all hail him.
All hail him, the Anti-Luff.
Yeah.
Champion of those who wish to give in to their impulses.
You do realise that Dave actually compounds and even strengthens my position of a dilution theory.
Dave is homeopathic when it comes to dilution theory.
Indeed. Indeed. So,
which is the tagline of my blog.
What, homeopathic about dilution theory?
It's when dilution theory becomes homeopathic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Superb.
Good to see you read my blog, Neil.
That's changed. That's changed recently. I'm sorry. I must admit I haven't read your blog for a bit, but I didn't. But I haven't. I didn't spot the. I didn't spot the change in tagline. I do apologise. I will hang my head in shame.
Terrible.
Right. Okay. So yes. So
the Anti-Luff.
Rise of the Anti-Luff, which was previously known as What's Dave Bought This Week.
Yeah. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Yeah, indeed. The thing we have to point out is that Dave bought something, and fun enough, it was the catalyst. It was the catalyst for our revelation about the fact that we were playing Gloomhaven wrong. But when Dave showed it off, when my other mate Dave showed it off to Mr. Luff, and then told him how much it was. I think you always were actually watering, weren't they, Mr. Luff?
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit. Okay. Now I think no. I might have to take responsibility for this. For doing the for doing the reckless act of retweeting it, including Dave in the retweet, going, "Hey Dave, have you seen this?" For the aforementioned Gloomhaven, somebody has produced an organizer. Okay, which basically because. There is one thing with Gloomhaven, and we'll talk about this, come on to it, but there's a lot of stuff in Gloomhaven. It's got lots of cardboard, lots of cards, lots of bits. And someone has engineered, an organizer. Okay. So everything can fit in the box. An incredible feat of engineering. If you start looking at it and kind of go, how it puts everything together. It's
without doubt, it's an incredible feat.
Yeah. Now the thing is, he said because of the weight, it's not made out of MDF. It's actually made out of plywood.
Make it a little bit longer. Yeah.
Just make it a bit lighter. But basically, so I mean, it all comes flat packed, and you have to construct it all. But basically, it's just a complete set of trays. So everything, whether it be the tiles or, I mean, plus that you start getting things like card boxes for because a lot of the baddies are actually like standees, and they have their own related decks. So all these now come in card boxes, which come as part of the organizer. I know, but basically the whole thing just kind of essentially just. It all kind of stacks together inside. I mean, the Gloomhaven's in a big box, but it all stacks together in the box. Now, part of that, with the fact that Dave was sorting all this out, and there's areas to put all your cards in. So all of a sudden, he kind of went, "Hang on a second, what's this big pack of cards I find in my hand?" But that's what Dave bought: an organizer for Gloomhaven. Stunning piece of engineering. Not the cheapest thing on the planet.
How much?
Could have bought a Gloomhaven with half of it.
Yeah, it's about it's just northwards of £70.
Okay.
But for what it does and for what you get, it is,
it does what it's supposed to do.
It does what it's supposed to do, and it is a blooming good piece of engineering. So you get what you pay for, and it does its job. It's just not a cheap piece of kit. But if you want to, it really does help. It does make life, and it does make setting up the game an awful lot easier. Dave set the game up in third of the time. It's taken us before easily, because half the problem is sorting out all the bits, because there's just loads of it, loads and loads of it, and let's say it's not a small box. So yes, that is what Dave bought this week. All hail the anti-Luff.
Good old Dave. Well done, mate. Proud of you.
And with that brings this first return from holiday episode of Meeples and Miniatures to the close. So all that remains to be said is, first off, thank you to the great guru himself for gracing us with his presence.
Yep, cheers guys. Good to be back.
Good to chat, and also thank you to the Welsh wizard himself. Thank you, Mr. Hobbs.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Dave. It's been a lovely show. A bit waffly. It's been nice.
Yes.
We've been a bit giddy. We've been a bit giddy, haven't we?
Well, yeah, we've got 2 months to catch up on, and it's been yeah. I mean, hopefully you've enjoyed it and found it useful, and I'm sure. I promise that we will be more focused on the next show. But as you can appreciate, we've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yes.
Lots of stuff to tell you about and what we've been working on. But as I say, look out in the future, because it might not be.
I might buy some more paintbrushes.
Oh, easy, Dave.
Careful. Hang on. I thought these paintbrushes lasted you for 10 years, mate.
Well, I'm pushing the boat out now. I might buy a size 6.
Ooh.
Bet you won't pay as much for it as as the anti-Luff did. All I say is size 6, Windsor and Newton. Look it up.
He kept this one quiet, didn't
he? It'll be nice because you can paint the outside of that box you just bought.
He's going to kill us. Well, no, correction. Yeah. He's going to kill me. You know that, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. If he wants a big brush, I could just give him a Hamilton brush, Give him a Hamilton Acorn brush. Got loads in the van.
And on that note,
all that makes me say thank you one and all for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's good to be back, guys. It's been nice to to be honest, it's been nice to have a break. But yeah, I think the break's done its job. We're feeling refreshed, recharged, and ready for a whole new set of shows for you. So, and again, if there's anything that you want us to talk about, roundtable discussions, any game you want us to review, then please let us know. We're always happy to hear from you. So until next time, happy gaming. We'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, why not share it with others by leaving us a review on iTunes? And if you have any comments or questions, you can always email the show. The address is info@meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. And you can also visit our webpage, where you'll find a complete episode archive, all the View from the Veranda podcasts, rules reviews, and our blog of hobby items and news, which is updated several times a week. This is also where you'll find the links to our presence on social media. And here you can follow us on Twitter or join our Facebook group. And finally, here you can also find details should you wish to support us by making a donation to the podcast. All this on the Meeples and Miniatures website, www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.